If you've owned units for any amount of time, you've probably wondered how to evict somebody who's not on a lease. Every now and then this happens. How do we handle it as landlords? Let's go. Hey there, my name is Mike Fritz. I'm the founder of Titanium Capital Investments and the multifamily CEO system. My greatest passion is helping people just like you create financial freedom with multifamily real estate, because my goal is to help you achieve your mission. By investing in real estate, it can free you up to achieve your mission, and that's what I want to help you do. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through how to evict somebody that may not be on a lease, but may be in your property. Let's get started. One of the most undesirable things we do as landlords is have to evict somebody. And the heat even turns up, and it gets a whole lot more undesirable when they're not on a lease, because it gets really hairy to really get somebody out of your unit if you have no paperwork that they should actually be in your unit. The first thing you want to do is physically visit the property, or have your property manager physically visit the property and speak with that tenant that isn't supposed to be in your location. Have a conversation with them and see if you can reason with them that, listen, we know you're not supposed to be here, we have no paperwork of you moving in, and this really isn't your unit. Figure out what happened and why they are there. Because again, as landlords, we're problem solvers before we're ever investors. So maybe you have somebody in there that doesn't have a place to go, but maybe they might make a good tenant. Which leads me to tip number 2. Is there a way to get them on a lease? So the first thing, we visit the property. After we get to the property, let's see if they're interested in actually becoming a tenant and going through our vetting process. Yes, they can live in the unit while we do this, but we want to do this vetting process, create an application just like we would for any tenant. So before I use force to get them out, I use reason to see if we can keep them. For example, somebody in your unit that might not be on a lease, you may have somebody who moved in there and they started dating somebody, their significant other moved in with them, but your original tenant moved out, and their significant other, maybe they've broken up and that relationship has been severed and they're still in your unit. Another time this happens is we own a lot of student housing. Sometimes a student will move in one of his buddies or one of her girlfriends, and guess what? Then one moves out and they're still there, and you have no paperwork and no lease paperwork for them to actually be there. This can create a lot of problems for us if that person doesn't pay, and how do we actually remove them from the unit? But as mentioned, the first thing you want to do is you want to visit the property and actually then see if you can get them on a lease. Because if you can get them on a lease, you might be able to mitigate a lot of the problems moving forward without ever having to physically remove them. The third thing you can do to remove somebody that's in your unit that you don't have a lease for is check out state law. Contact an attorney and see what your line of defense is. Each state's going to be a little different. Sometimes it's as simple as a call to your attorney, you draft paperwork, you post it on the door, and you can connect with the local sheriff, and they literally come and physically remove them from the property. Sometimes the process is a little more extended depending on which state you live in. But the beauty of an attorney is they'll be able to tell you what specific steps you need to take and how you can truly remove them from your unit. But the truth of the matter is, you have a tenant that is living in your property illegally. So you want to leverage the law in order to remove them. The other thing is, they have no reason to treat your place fairly, because you can't come back on them legally. Yes, they're not supposed to be there, but they haven't signed a lease that they will take care of your property or ever pay you. Most of the time, people in your places without leases are not going to pay you rent. So it's going to be really important you contact an attorney quickly and get this process moving so you can get them out of your unit before something really serious happens and you're liable. Before I go on to the next tip, comment below, have you had to evict somebody not on a lease, or have you ever had to evict someone? Tell us your story below. I'd love to hear them, or if you have any questions, let me know. We love to answer questions below. If you're in the middle of an eviction, how do you get it done? Let me hear in the comments. The next way to get somebody out of your unit is you can request it back. What this means is you actually serve them legal paperwork that they need to be removed from your unit in a certain number of days, or they need to show up in court at a specific court date. Of course, your attorney will help you line all of this up. And on that court date, if you show up and they don't, which usually they don't, what will happen is the sheriff will be sent over and will physically remove them from the property within 10 days. Again, as a side note, make sure you check your state, because every state is a little different. If they do show up to court, you can say 2 things. Number 1, they're there illegally, not on a lease. And number 2, I simply want my unit back. What this tells the court, you may not even want to rent that unit to anybody else. The truth is, as an owner, if somebody's not on a lease, you can request your unit back and give a 30-day notice at any time. That's the point of not being on a lease. If they're not on a lease, you have no legal obligation to let them stay there because you own the property. But the truth of the matter is, as you walk through a process like this, you want a couple things to go through your mind. Number one is to keep the integrity of your property. I want to get them out as fast as possible to make sure they're not completely destroying my property so that I don't have thousands of dollars to put into it after they leave. This is why you want to contact your attorney the minute you find out you have somebody in your property illegally. Of course, that's after you've had a conversation with them. After I have a conversation with them, if I'm not going to be able to reason with them, or they won't reach out, or I can't get in touch with them, I'm going to contact an attorney and make sure that I get this process moving quickly and we can start moving towards the finish line. Even though you don't want to do this process, nobody does. It has to be done sometime, and part of owning a unit is sometimes doing part of these undesirable things so we can move this unit to a family that it will really bless. Just as a side note, if you don't feel safe going to your property because you don't know this person, or you just don't feel safe confronting somebody live like that, this is the power of an attorney, because an attorney can help you serve that paperwork, get the information to them, and let them know they need to evacuate the property immediately, and if not, then you're simply going to walk through the legal process to get them out. I also want to give you a free video. I want to give you our free multifamily masterclass. If you click the link in the description, you're going to be taken to a 60-minute training that has literally changed my life. When I learned this content, I was able to buy multifamily properties at will, and I want to give that to you free today for tuning in. So click the link in the description, and I'll see you inside the training.